My name is Ruth Judge, and my husband was Jerry Judge. I have to start with my son, who is 60, and then there's a daughter that's here with me is 62, and another daughter, my oldest one, is 64, and then the youngest one is 58. So they remember many, many things. It was wonderful. I had a much easier time, except for when he was on the Topeka and I was in San Diego, because he was with the teachers in the missile where they were doing, and it was the same group. We are still friends with a lot of them, and they, they aren't with the Topeka, but they were on the Port Hueneme, they were there. A lot of our children are all the same age, and we've all kept in touch like that. So, like when we got married, we were in Port Hueneme, then we went to Pomona for 3 years, and then we went to Vallejo and Mare Island for another 2 or 3 years. So, I mean, I had a whole bunch of non-sea duty. He did most of his sea duty before we married. And in fact, he did 13 years of sea duty where that's all he did. He wasn't at home. Then it just was until I came to San Diego all by myself. There were lots of friends around, and the children all knew each other and things like that. It just it was very difficult because the children, when we were in San Diego, were young, and I enrolled them. I had to enroll my 2 oldest ones in kindergarten and 1st grade. And that, was difficult. And I, if I got sick, I put one of them, my oldest at that time was 6, and we were 2 blocks from a Vons store, and we had a red wagon. And one time when I was well and walked up there, I went and talked to the manager, and I said, now, if I happen to get sick or one of the kids are sick, and I said, if I send my 2, that would be an 8 and a 6-year-old, if I send them up to the store with a list, will you put it in the basket, and put it in their wagon, and they'll come home? And that worked very well because I didn't know anybody. Got acquainted with the people next door when all of a sudden my son fell, and the windows were low. They were high, but there was also low, and he knocked on and it broke it. Well, fortunately, the man next door heard it, and he knew that there wasn't a man at this house. So they popped over to see if everything was all right. He didn't cut himself, which was nice. And turns out that the man worked at a hardware store just up the street. And so he went up and got glass and got it fixed, and then we became good friends. They didn't have any children, but we, enjoyed doing things together. My son broke a couple of more windows. It was kind of, crazy. And he would always come over and fix them, and so that was good. Met some other people through the church, and that made it, much easier. But the hardest thing was being able to to go anywhere, because I didn't have people that I knew. I had the car, and I drove to Arizona. The summer that they were gone, and with the 4 kids, and stayed with my mother for a while. And then when it was time for school to start, I drove back by myself. And those are things that are just, you don't expect to do all by yourself. A couple of the kids got sick, had the mumps, and and that was, and then another time two of them got measles, and the other 2 didn't. And I thought, okay, well, I didn't try and separate them because I thought, well, let's get it all over with. They didn't have the shots then, or anything. So that's how that went. And then after he came back, and we went back up to Vallejo after the Topeka. That was really, it was kind of fun, because by then the oldest one was in, I think, 5th grade, and they were, 5th, maybe 4th, 2nd, and then one didn't go to school yet.